Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Jenny Starks, and I'm the Director of Enrollment Management at St. Joseph's Catholic School. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Monday night to learn a little bit more about our school. Just a few little housekeeping requests. We've had some questions submitted ahead of time, and you guys may have questions along the way. Please hold those till the end. You can put them in the chat, and we will address all these questions at the end of the presentation. So I'm really excited to introduce several members of our leadership team. We have Keith Kaiser, our head of school. We have Wanda Jaroszewski. She's our assistant head of school. Jean Crosby is our vice principal of the middle school, and Ryan Coons, the vice principal of our high school. They will all be sharing information with this slide deck tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Keith Kaiser, and I'll see you guys afterwards during the question time.
Well, good evening to each of you. I'm Keith Kaiser. I'm the head of school, as Jenny said. I'm in my 26th year here at St. Joseph's, and I just appreciate the fact that you're taking time to be with us this evening. We have an informative night to share with you. I want to begin with one of my favorite quotes of the year. Pope Leo said this about Christian education. And I'm going to start with this because I think it represents what we're trying to do at St. Joseph's. And he said this. He said, Christian education is a collective endeavor. No one educates alone. The educational community is a we, where teachers, students, families, and admin staff and service staff. And listen to what he says here. We all converge to generate life. That's what we're seeking to do every day here at St. Joseph's is generate life within our students, each and every one of them. We come together to educate the whole person, and we do this through our we do it in a way that in an environment in which faith, culture, and life all interact together. Every year we choose a theme for the year, and we choose this theme at an administrative retreat that we go on after the end of the school year. So we chose this theme in June for this year, and we do it based upon kind of where we are as a community, what we see reality teaching us about where we are. And this year's theme focuses on belonging. Uh, uh, we have a desire that every single student at St. Joseph realize and like believe that they belong at the school. And we want to keep that in front of us because we believe that education happens best in relationship. And we chose the story of the Good Samaritan to remind us that we should be looking for the person in our community who is most in need of attention and care. And so this image is in every classroom. The theme is posted in every classroom so that we can remember every student. This invites us to, I wrote this down, to slow down, to pay attention, to notice, so that we can engage in a way that's helpful to each and every one of our students. And we do all of this through a philosophy that we call the St. Joseph's Way. And Mrs. Jaroszewski is going to talk to you about that.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. These are some of our most favorite times where we get to meet people that are interested in St. Joseph's. And so there's some reason that you've joined us this evening. And whatever that reason is, we're happy you're here. I also, as I was thinking about this earlier today, I encourage you to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart this evening to the things that we're sharing. I know that when I've been at different presentations or events where I'm learning about something new, I think, oh, yes, this all sounds well and good and it sounds awesome, but what's it going to cost me? Right? Like, what is this going to require of me? And at the end, Mr. Kaiser is going to talk about our flexible tuition program, which has been a game changer for so many families. So listen to what we're saying. Again, not with just your ears, but with your heart. And then we're going to talk about how this is accessible to your family at the end. Okay. We've mentioned, Mr. Kaiser mentioned that we have a particular method of education, and that's called the St. Joseph's Way. So what is important to us is academic excellence. And many of you maybe are on this call today because you have heard that St. Joseph's prepares our students well, and that is true. But what is most important to us is their formation as young men and young women that God has a plan for. And so we've developed this way with 4 tenets. And the first one is infinite worth and dignity. And we tell our students and all members of our communities, and not just tell them, but live it, that they have dignity and worth because we are children of God, and no one can take that away. And every interaction, we instill that in them. We try to model that for them, knowing that we will not be perfect in its delivery, but we are going to be perfect in the pursuit of that. The second tenet of the St. Joseph's Way is the positivity of reality. And we believe that in all things, Christ is revealing himself to us in some way. Every subject is worthy of study. And so there's not to us one subject that's more important than the other. We give music the same amount of time that we give math and English, because we don't know what ultimately is going to draw our students to the one who created it all, Christ. Everyone has a different passion, has a different interest, and so we study it all. The other thing about positivity of reality is we know, and as you as parents know, that not everything goes according to plan. And even in the moments of struggle or strife or sorrow, Christ is revealing something to us as well. And I know that for myself, for my husband and I, this was one huge draw to a specific community, this community for us, because who is around our young people when those moments happen, when those moments of strife and worry and anxiety come? Who is going to be around to help accompany them? Our third tenet is of his fulfillment in Christ. And we know in our world, in our culture, and even in our own lives, there's many things that we strive for. What is going to make us feel good, feel happy, give us joy? And we can strive for money or fame or athletic accomplishments, but we know, we believe at St. Joseph's that our ultimate fulfillment is found in relationship with Christ. And we do all that we can to infuse that into our day, into how we form our young people, knowing full well that they might come to us with some faith developed or no faith at all. And this might also be a great place to mention that we are a Catholic school, and we are strongly aligned with the Diocese of Charleston. We are an independent school. However, 65% about of our students are Catholic, but 35% are not. And we welcome all Christian faiths. We are about a communion of believers. So if you are not Catholic and are looking at St. Joseph's, please know that you are welcome. And then our final tenet is personal accompaniment. Something that really does set us apart is who is around our young people every day. The men and women who teach, who coach, who are in the business office. All of us are providing an example of Christian living and a model. And we walk alongside. So our faculty and our staff care and concern for our students is truly something that we believe is different for us. And one of the ways that we do that is through our house program. So this is a fairly loose example, so don't hold me to this, but if any of you are familiar with Harry Potter and the Slytherin and Gryffindor and all those houses, Our house program is, I would say, a loose affiliation with that, only in that there's a structure that might sound familiar if you've read that book series. But every student that comes into our school is placed into a household. And in middle school, the households are by gender, so either young men or young women, and they're mixed by grade level, 6 through 8. And a student will stay in that household all through their time in middle school, and then the same in high school. When they come to our high school, they are in a different household than they were in middle school, but it still is by gender, young men or young women, and it's a mixed grade level, 9 through 12. And each of those households has a faculty or staff member that's assigned as the dean. And as you can imagine, there's different personalities with our faculty and staff, and there's different personalities with households. So we do our very best through the admissions process to pair a student with a dean that we think will really bring out the best in them. And each of the households are placed into one of 4 houses. And those 4 houses are by 4 saints that we have selected that represent certain virtues that we want our young people to espouse to. Saint Bakita, Saint Catherine Drexel, Oscar Romero, and Saint Gianna Molla. And each of those saints in their own lives have not been perfect, but they have done something with their life that is incredibly admirable and saint-like. Yes, and so our depth of learning. At St. Joseph's, we do not believe in a quick accumulation of credits. We don't believe in just checking the box. We believe that learning takes time. It takes time for that information to seep in to a young person, time for them to think about how that ignites their heart and their passions, so that they can form connections from what they learned 2 weeks ago to what they're going to learn tomorrow. Yes, and that's a challenge when you have snow days, right? Because you have a few days in between. But we do believe that learning is it's a process that takes time. We have a 7-year course of study, and sometimes we wish the students could be with us longer, because the longer they're with us, the more time we have to accompany them through the things that they learn, the challenges that they have. We want to inspire them. We want to have their curiosity challenged and nurtured. And that aligns with our approach to education. Just a quick overview of our student body. We have 610 students. We didn't start out with 610 this year. We started out with 604. Is that right, Mrs. Stark? 604? We've had some students join us over the last month. 48% are young women, 52% are young men, about 234 in the middle school, 376 in the high school. Yes, and one of our very signature programs is our 6th grade academy, because as some of you know, middle school can be challenging and difficult, but we don't believe it has to be that way. And I'm very pleased to introduce Mrs. Crosby, who's not only a 6th grade math teacher, she's also the director of the 6th grade academy and the vice principal of our middle school.
Thank you, Mrs. J. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here again. Yes, 6th grade is that transitional year. It is designed, our 6th grade academy is designed and to ease that significant transition from elementary school to middle school. It's a very difficult time. I met with a little girl at an interview and she got a little weepy and I said, "Honey, what's the matter?" She goes, "I'm going to have to make all new friends." And I said, "That everybody's going to make all new friends." And that's a beautiful thing. So we have the sixth grade academy, all their classes. If you've come by St. Joe's, or if you haven't, I hope you do come and take a tour. It's a beautiful campus, and it's large, so that could be a little overwhelming for them. So the sixth grade academy, all their core classes are in one hall. Their lockers are right there, and we have a dedicated team of teachers just for sixth grade, and we're all together all day long. We have meetings each week to go over who might be struggling, who needs support, or where we can create some lessons cross-curricular. Right now, we're doing Greek myths and history. We're doing them in English, and it's just wonderful to see them make the connections. So we have an intentional purpose for the sixth grade academy so that we can facilitate that transition for success in middle school all the way through high school. We have a dedicated middle school. Actually, she's all school counselors for their social and emotional needs. We also have an academic counselor. And based on research and positive outcomes that we've seen, you've heard that we have single gender classes for most of their core academic classes. They have a wonderful opportunity for the arts. And so each sixth grader chooses a music. They can do strings, band, chorus, or guitar, and they take that for a full year. Some of them don't know what they like, and so we encourage them to stick with it, to see how it progresses with them. You know, that piano practice that I always told my mom was doing. You know, my mom, did you practice? Oh, yes, I practiced. Well, it takes time. It takes time. As Miss J said, these beautiful things take time to develop. Along with their music, they have another carrier or class that they have, and it's a quarter rotation, and we expose them to computers and PE and theater and visual arts. So they get a little bit of that all year long. One of our favorite parts of the sixth grade academy is their foundations class. So while they are learning from each of their teachers, we have one teacher that teaches them how to adjust to middle school, how to take notes, how to study. For some of them, they haven't had homework before, and they haven't had to study. Really, it was if you were present, you knew what was going on. You didn't have to do anything extra. So sometimes they need to learn how to study. They learn how to do long-range projects and how to do some time management. We work on organization. They have a locker, and some of their lockers might look like their bedroom. So we help them with that a little bit. We also continue with reading skills and writing skills in foundations. It's really a class that helps them learn how to learn. Because now it's not someone just giving them the information. They're trying to learn the information a little bit. And we also work on digital citizenship. So the sixth grade academy is something that we're very passionate about. It's important for these young children to feel secure and have a place, and we want them to be known and to feel secure. The parents also appreciate that they have many sports they can participate in sixth grade. Not many middle schools have sports just for sixth grade. Most have to wait till seventh. So we do have several sixth grade teams for them. Our seventh and eighth graders, our core academic classes continue to be single gender. But we have many more, as you can see, enrichment classes. So while they take their required curriculum, they also continue with their music. And then they have another carrier where we have all these beautiful enrichment classes, which are by semester. Broadway Bound, where they can perform little skits and little songs. Computers, Exploring Engineering, where they've done some amazing roller coaster out of paper and mouse traps and just amazing things. Home Economics, we don't forget about sewing and cooking. But they have more choices, and those are semester bound. We also have a designated time twice a week for clubs. So Mr. Kuhn will talk to you later a bit about the schedule we developed and adopted this year. But twice a week, Mondays and Fridays, we have designated time for clubs, because we know not all learning happens in an academic classroom, and children have other interests that they want to develop. So we have a club schedule, and every teacher has a club. And sometimes students have a desire for a club that we don't offer, and they'll bring it to us. And if a teacher will sponsor them, they will sponsor that club for them. They explore their own interests outside of the classroom, and it's really beautiful to share those joys with them.
All right, I think it's my turn to take
Oh,
over. Thank you, Mr. Crosby. So again, my name is Ryan Kuhn. I am the high school vice principal here at St. Joseph's. This is my 21st year at the school, and most of that time has actually been in the science classroom as a science teacher. I took on the vice principal role 2 years ago, and I still teach AP biology and AP environmental science. And I know that not everyone on this call is a rising ninth grader, but the ninth grade is our most common entry point for high school. So I wanted to go through briefly what a typical ninth grade schedule looks like. And as Ms. Crosby mentioned, I'm going to segue into our new school day schedule too. So in ninth grade, you can see all the students take religion, they take math, either geometry or algebra one, biology at CP or the honors level, composition and literature, world history, world language, either Spanish or French, and they have one slot for an elective, either 1 year-long elective or 2 semester electives. And in a minute, I'm going to show you what our elective offerings are. The eighth carrier is what we call a free period. I want to take a minute to discuss what that is. Free periods are unique to our high school, and this is the first year that we implemented them. And is a free period the same thing as a traditional study hall? And the answer is no, it is not. As Ms. Crosby mentioned, we have a firm belief that there's a lot of things students need to learn that might not happen inside the classroom. And one of those things is how to manage their time without us managing it for them. So the way that a free period works in our classes, so a student meets 4 classes a day. So the free period is every other day, and it's 75 minutes. And the way that it works is students will check in with a teacher in our student center, and they can stay there if they want to study, or they can sign out and go to places like the weight room if they need to get a workout in. They can go to the library, they can go to the chapel, and each of those locations is proctored. There's a teacher there, and there's a sign in, sign out. But the idea is that when these kids get to college, college is a lot of unstructured time. And we want to give our students a chance to practice and dare maybe get it wrong the first few times, but how to manage time that we don't manage for them. And someone has asked me when we first went to this model, what happens if a student doesn't manage it properly? And my response is, well, hopefully they learned that they didn't manage it properly, and they can figure out how to do that before they get to be a freshman in college. So obviously it's a time, and they get it for all 4 years in high school for them to get things done during the day, but also to learn how to manage time without us managing it for them. So you can flip to the next slide. So a minute on our new schedule. So most people know that St. Joseph's has pretty high academic standards, and we wanted to make sure that how we structured the day supported the standards that we were asking the students to achieve. So this year we implemented an entire new school day schedule. We redesigned the whole thing. And a couple highlights of it. I mentioned a minute ago, so students take 4 classes a day. And one reason for that is you only have to prepare for 4 classes the night before. So it makes the load a little bit more manageable. And the classes meet every other day for 75 minutes. So we have blue day and gray day. A blue day, you meet classes A, B, C, D, and a gray day is E, F, G, H. So today was a blue day. We met A, B, C, D. Tomorrow we'll meet E, F, G, H. And our classes also rotate. So today was A, B, C, D. So Wednesday will be the same classes, but it'll be D, A, B, C. And that might sound confusing, but the reason for that is that we all have times of the day when we are at our best and we're not at our best. And if you're not a morning person and you do not like math, then the whole year, if math is first period, will be not the best experience. So one of the best practices that some schools do is to have the classes rotate. And this sounds complicated. And the first, it's fair to say our kids were skeptical that they would understand how this works, but after the third day of school, they got it down, and it's not as confusing as it sounds once you live it for a few days. Our community time, so 4 times a week, we have an hour carved out in the day for what we call community time. Wednesdays we have a late start. Wednesdays we start at 9:10. So Wednesdays there's no community time. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And this is a time dedicated for learning outside the classroom. One day of the week, we do it on Thursdays, is our weekly all school mass. Mondays and Fridays, we have club time. And that's the time when Ms. Crosby mentioned every teacher sponsors a club, high school and middle school. So students either go to a club or they can go to a teacher for extra help. So all of our teachers once a week have a club and on the off day have time for extra help. And Tuesdays, we have that community time for our house program, which Ms. Jerichowski talked about. And, we've learned that, St. Joe's aims really, really high. But if you don't carve out time in the day for these things to happen, they just don't happen. So part of our new schedule was to help make our expectations manageable, but also build time in the day to breathe, for starters, but also for student meetings, for house leadership, for YIG, for beta club, for things where in the past they were meeting at lunch or after school, and it was just leading to more student stress. And our response from the kids to this schedule has been very, very good. They definitely appreciate having more time to breathe throughout the day. You can flip the next slide. Our high school electives, so these are all of our semester electives. I mentioned in ninth grade, you have one carrier, so either 1 year long or 2 semester electives. And once you hit higher, sophomore through senior year, there's lots of opportunity to take electives. Some of these fulfill graduation requirements, and some are just solely for fun. If a kid wants to take a couple of semesters of art, we have those as semester elective offerings. For the next slide, I want to take just a minute because we get asked about this pretty frequently about our AP offerings. So for a school our size, we are very proud of our AP offerings. We intentionally don't really start APs until the sophomore year. There are very, very, very few exceptions. We would let a freshman take an AP class. And part of that is by design. The transition to St. Joe's sometimes can be rough. Some kids come to St. Joe's and they got it on day one. Some kids take more time. And the typical 14-year-old might not quite be ready for the rigor and pace for an AP class. And that is 100% fine. We actually like that. So most of these classes, a few will start sophomore year, most really start junior year and senior year. And in a minute, I'm going to talk about our AP pass rate. Actually, if you want to go ahead and flip to the next slide. So I almost hesitate to show a slide on statistics because part of our whole vibe at St. Joe's is that we don't like reducing people to numbers. People are people. But our numbers are pretty impressive. So if you'll forgive me for a minute, just to brag about our students. This is the class of 2025. You can read these 100%, got at least one scholarship, 100% college acceptance rate. Our AP pass rate last year was 94%, which that is a testament to our students. At some schools, when you take an AP course, you don't have to take the AP exam. So say you're halfway through AP Bio and you've realized this is not going well, and the school doesn't make you take the test. We make every student take every AP class, every AP test that they're in. And the fact that 94% get a score of 3 or higher, which is what most schools accept as a passing score, is really a testament to our students and to our AP teachers. So like I said, well, I don't love reducing our students to numbers because they're more than numbers. Um, I like to brag because our students really do achieve amazing things. And the last thing that I want to talk about is just a quick plug on our college counseling office. So we have an incredible college counseling office. Their goal is literally to accompany our students through the college admissions process, which can be incredibly daunting. The process really starts at the end of eighth grade when students meet with a counselor to help build their ninth grade schedule. And that happens all 4 years. Once you really hit sophomore, junior, and senior year, the college counseling office will do parent meetings, student meetings. They'll meet with kids one-on-one to plan their schedule. Their goal really is for the student to put together the best possible application they can to represent the student. And the last thing I want to mention, so I didn't read the slide to you, but our college counselors are amazing. They travel around the country to visit different schools, to stay up to date. That FaceTime with the school's admissions office is very important. They build relationships. They serve on advisory boards. They help read scholarship applications for different universities. They really do want to extend St. Joe's presence across the whole country. The last thing I want to say, and this is going to be my last slide if you want to flip it, is one of the things that I don't want to say it's become trendy, but it's increasingly out there is families hiring an independent private counselor for college admissions. And we want you to know that you do not need to do that, that the services that our college counseling office provides are the same as what an independent counselor would provide. And in some cases, it's actually better. And this is included in your tuition. We don't charge extra for this. A couple examples. So our college counseling office will write every senior an individualized letter of recommendation. And those are in addition to the ones that the teachers write. And an independent private counselor is not allowed to submit things like that to a college. Our college counselors will reach out, they'll call, they'll email a university directly if they need to advocate for a student. And obviously, a private counselor, a college won't let a private counselor do things like that. Our college counseling office helps manage the recommendation letters that our teachers will provide. And then when they write their own letter, the goal is to have the best application that represents what the student's looking for. And some colleges look for specific things, and our college counselors know what the colleges are looking for. So it is really incredible the expertise that is in that office. And like I said, this is part of the school's tuition. All right, I think at this point I pass it to Mr. Kaiser. Thank you for your time.
Speaking of the school's tuition, right? So, wanted to mention this at the beginning. Like, this might all sound great to you, but like, it does beg the question, like, how are we going to afford it? And I know you're not alone in asking that question because it costs a lot to provide this kind of education. But our founders were committed to there not being any obstacles, no financial obstacles to a family who wants this education. And so we've taken that mission seriously. And the way that we do that at St. Joseph's is that we offer something that we call personalized family tuition. So a family who feels that it can't afford the full tuition, because basically we charge what it costs, is invited to apply for personalized family tuition. And there's a small committee that looks at the applications that come in and reviews them and then awards a tuition based upon a family's total financial situation. And so we wanted to show you here. This chart is actually the chart of our current student body. And so look at the income ranges. So family that makes between zero and $100,000, they pay on average $4,325. And then you can see their age or the income ranges go from 100,000 to 200,000. The average there is about $8,600. 200,000 to 300,000, the average there. So about half of our families, a little more than half of our families pay full tuition. About 40% of our families are in the personalized family tuition. So, with the new Educational Scholarship Trust Fund, in addition to our personalized family tuition, we believe that we can find a way for any family that wants to have their children at St. Joseph's. So, please do not let this be an obstacle. Give us an opportunity to show us how your family could afford it. We want to be a school that's not for one student from one socioeconomic background, because we believe that that's what a Catholic school is, and that's what a Catholic school does. So that's essentially the information we wanted to share with you tonight. But we are actually a little ahead of our time, and we'd love to answer any questions. I know, Jenny, you're going to tee that up and share some important dates that are in front of us here.
Thank you, Mr. Kaiser, Mrs. Jaroszewski, Mrs. Crosby, Mr. Kuhn, for sharing all that with us. We do have a couple of questions that have come through, and I wanted to start off with kind of, I want to apply what's next was one of the questions. So if you go to the main page of our school website, on the right-hand side, there's 4 buttons, and this one of them is inquire. So if you have any questions or you want to follow up with us, please fill out that form, either myself, and you'll see my contact information below, or Emily Burris, the assistant director, or Maria Gelpi, who is our enrollment management coordinator, but she also works with our Hispanic community as well. One of us will get back to you within 24 hours and answer any further questions you might have. The person who asked, how do I apply? Again, the main page of our school website, there's a button that says apply. Please apply. What happens next is we will process the application. Once the application's processed, you will have a checklist that opens up. The next testing date, as you will see on this upcoming events important dates, is February the 21st. Sign up for that testing date. We will need a teacher recommendation. You'll just type in the teacher email address. It electronically goes to the teacher and then comes right back to us. The third thing is a records request form. So please print that out and take it to your child's school. They'll send us what we need. Finally, the last piece that we need is a family interview. As Mr. Kuhn said, we just get a lot of numbers sent to us. Grades, test scores, standardized test scores. The family interview is so important to us because this is where we get to know your child and we get to know you guys, but also you guys get to ask us the questions. And so that's one of my favorite parts, is to find out how the family interview goes. And so once all of that happens, a committee will meet. And because this is the second window of admissions, then in April, the admissions decisions will go out for those families. So I hope that answers the questions about how do I apply and what happens next. I really encourage you guys, again, schedule a tour. Come on campus. That's a third button on the main page of our website. We have told you all about this, but come feel it. See our teachers in action. See our students just excited about learning. Emily Burris, Maria Gelpi, and we love giving tours to our families. I'd much rather be doing that with my day than sitting in front of a computer. So schedule that tour from the main page of our website. Finally, as Mr. Kaiser was talking about our personalized family tuition, that's that fourth button. For families that are interested in that and want to know a little bit more, click on the button Personalized Family Tuition. You will be directed to a page where it talks about this February 9th ESTF application. That is open right now. It's a little bit confusing. It talks about 500% of poverty, how many people are in your house, and income. Please go to the website and see if you qualify for it. Even if you don't think you do, or you're kind of on the borderline, please apply. We've seen families receive the aid who didn't think they were going to receive it. Also, if you need information, contact me. I'm more than happy to walk you through that process. The second is the Blackbaud financial aid. We gave away about $1.7 million last year. So again, that's the second application in our personalized family tuition. Please apply. Those applications are open right now for new families. Okay, I think I answered all the questions. Let's see. We do have a question, and maybe Mrs. Crosby can answer this question. It says, why is music year-round, but other extracurricular subjects are 9 to 18-week rotations depending on the grade?
So it takes a little while to learn an instrument. I don't know if you've ever picked up a tuba or a saxophone or a violin, but some of those take a little while to learn. So that's why the music is a year long. And also it needs to develop the love of it. Some haven't had that chance, so that takes a little bit longer, but the other classes, the theater, the computers, the PE, and the art, they get a taste of it, and then in 7th and 8th grade in high school, they can and drive into that some more.
Yes, and I invite you to come see some of our concerts. It's amazing to see those sixth graders at the Christmas concert, how well they can play these instruments. I'm always blown away by the talent of our students. We do have another question that asks, when do applications open for 27-28? So for 27-28, traditionally it's going to be probably in October 1st is when our applications open up for each school year. We try to have an open house around that time in October. I don't have that date set yet, but it's usually one of the first Wednesdays in October. But we'll have those important dates published probably in May for families. Let's see. I think we've answered all the questions that have come through. And again, please write down the contact information below if you want to email me directly. I would love to answer your questions. So thank you again to everybody who joined us tonight. I appreciate you guys coming out on a Monday evening to find out more about St. Joe's. And again, thank you to Mr. Kaiser, Mrs. Jaroszewski, Mrs. Crosby, and Mrs. Kuhn. Sorry, Mr. Kuhn. Mrs. Kuhn was my daughter's household dean, and so she's very special to us. Thank you guys for joining us all tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.